We are live over at Reddit, RPan, and I believe we are also live on some other parts of the internet. This is my main man, Kyle. Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm well, Jake. Yes, we are live today. It's Wednesday, the 30th of March, and we are on YouTube and LinkedIn and Reddit. And we're here to talk about starting a business. And we pick a topic every week here at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. And today's topic is where to go for advice. How are you doing, Jake?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. And everyone out there in streaming land, we like to talk about various aspects of business, whether it's entrepreneurship, startups, or franchising. We are interested to tap into that space in Reddit that is interested in those topics.
Yep. And that's what we
I'm,
do all day, every day.
I'm having a hectic week, Kyle.
What's going on?
In the best way possible. We have transactions coming in, and they take a lot of work to run on top of everything else. So it's good to be
Oh,
doing business, but it keeps
yes.
you busy.
Revenue is everything.
Revenue is king.
This is good. I'm really glad to hear that.
Kyle, how do you manage things when you get super busy, when like everything's kicking off and you have customers starting and clamoring? Do you have a lot
Uh,
of deadline? Do you have a lot of deadlines? Because there's kind of a longer sales cycle to franchises, some of what you do.
yeah, managing things, basic executive ability. I mean, I assume you mean besides beer, but yeah, I got a sales cycle that can last up to 6 months, and so, you know, it, we take it 1 week at a time. I've got a lot of clients that I work with, and we make it a point to have activities, self-imposed deadlines every week, and we check in on those activities. And so yeah,
So do you have
it's
a you have a certain, because you're self-employed, do you have a certain amount of pressure, maybe even constraints that you build for yourself as far as wanting to get as many deals in for a month or a week or a certain
oh
time period? Do you have
oh
kind of like
yeah,
a monthly sales benchmark that you're trying to hit?
yeah. I try to do a quarterly thing, just because the cycles are so long, and sometimes as granular as I can get is probably an annual. You know, this is a weird business because it's really hard to predict. And so I just try to do my own best job, right? And I think that a lot of business owners are like that, where we're kind of harder on ourselves than anybody else is hard on us. And so I set up pretty ambitious goals, and try to get them done. And sometimes I'm the windshield and sometimes I'm the bug, but this year is shaping out to be a windshield year. How about you? How do you manage your time and forecast?
Well, I'm in flux a little bit, and because I'm creating this company, because I'm an entrepreneur and it's self-employed, a lot of the systems that working for another company would give you aren't really in place. And so I
Mm.
put some in place, but then because I work by myself, sometimes I don't use the systems I put in place. I just try to do things quickly, and that can work for a time until you try to get a bit busier and until you want to delegate a few things. And so I'm finding myself at a place where I want to delegate some work to people. And when you delegate work to people at scale, it's almost easier, right? If you're delegating like one thing to one person, sometimes it takes you as long as it does to delegate it as it does just to do it yourself. And so I've got to work through those things that can help me to delegate some work without it taking too much time.
Nice. Hey, I wanted to give a shout out to Oz and Aya. Thanks for giving the shout out in the chat box. It's good to see you on, and I really look forward to you getting your business started. So thanks for checking in on us. Um, and you know, so it sounds like that you're running into a lot of challenges. Where do you go for advice when you're trying to get over the hump on some of these things, Jake?
I hate to interrupt, sir, but I think we've been kicked off our stream. I'm just going to. What is going on with my RPAN?
Hmm.
I think my RPAN froze, sir.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to. Let me see here. I may have to force quit and restart.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I've got a chat overlay going on. I was curious on the restream, Jake, if you can see that at all, or if it's just me.
I can see that, and I was just about to comment on that, and it seems like you're getting some comments in there as
Yeah.
well.
Zanaya, I'm glad to hear you're rolling. This is awesome. Fantastic. Good deal. Well, Azanaya is one of my clients, and he went down a long road of figuring out what he wanted to do with his business ownership and checking out a bunch of topics. And once he found one, going through a lot of tribulations, I think, to be able to make it happen. But you're finally there, and so I'm really, really happy that you're there. And I guess if I'm going to talk about, where do I go for advice, or what do I recommend my clients go for advice? It's a number of places. I mean, I'm one of them, actually. I'm an advisor, but that's specific to franchising. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that are looking at franchises and other businesses to start. And, one of the things that I like to recommend people is get a SCORE mentor. SCORE is an organization. You can go to score.org, and SCORE is an organization where you can get mentorship on how to run your business. These are made up of people who have been there and done it. SCORE used to stand for the Service Corps of Retired Executives, and it's populated with people that are retired entrepreneurs. And it's no better place to get advice on how to run a business than from people who've already done it. How we doing over there, Jake? How's our pan looking?
Yeah, so we our plan crashed out for a little bit, but I think we're back.
Okay.
And so this is try two over at our pen. I've not been kicked out
Yeah.
of that before like that. So
I see you back on the live stream on our pan. So I'm looking at a Reddit screen, and it looks good.
so we had a nice little conversation going there, and I got a little distracted when our pen went down and getting it back up.
Yeah.
But so
So
you've got some watchers that are customers today as well.
yeah. Azanaya is a client that I've worked with throughout 2021, and he got into a digital marketing business. So
Very cool.
I look forward to him. And I'm going to be shameless in the promotion of that business too. I think that if you are, looking to do digital marketing strategies for your business, you should be working with Azanaya and WSI. So he's a new business owner here in the Central Texas area.
Very cool. Very cool to see your work, your hard work in action out there, and you're getting some good vibes from them in the chat there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I
So
was talking a little bit about delegating work, and so that's one of my
yep,
pains at the moment is how to delegate work without completely repeating it. And I will have to be better at getting some systems in place because I think you can't really scale a business without the right systems.
you're absolutely correct. But how do you know what to do? Where do you go for advice on that kind of thing? I mean,
So I like to stream with people that are more knowledgeable than me and to try to get
hmm,
free advice from them.
okay. Well, let me know if you find anybody like that.
I'll keep looking. No, I'm lucky enough to be in the startup and fintech environment. There are a number of mentors out there. There are a lot of people who have made it who like to give advice, but ultimately, only you can do the work. No one can do it for you. People give you advice. I think what tends to happen is everyone has their own solution, and so everyone has a slightly different piece of advice. Use this
Yeah,
technology or use this system, and you have to adapt to something that works for you. But if you're going to delegate to other people, you have to adapt to something that they will use. And I think that's something that happens too much in kind of corporate culture today is that they dictate that there's some tool that they bought to their employees without getting some feedback. And so
yeah,
I'd like to build a different kind of company that is a little bit more easier for people to use and kind of takes in input to make things work more smoothly. But as you start to scale, those ideals don't always stick with you.
Yeah. One tool that works for a small group doesn't work for a larger group or a distributed group. What do you use for things like collaborating with other people who are working in your organization?
Well, I am a I'm a big proponent of Zoho, and that being said, I'm not using Zoho as much as I should.
Mhm.
We are across 4 continents and 6 time zones, and I use WhatsApp and Telegram a lot to communicate. I was
Yeah.
using Basecamp for a while, and Basecamp was pretty good for a while, but we don't have a cause to use it as much today.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Notion's very popular. I don't know if you've ever used Notion.
No, I haven't used Notion. Um, but I haven't even heard of it. But uh,
Do you have a CRM or something that you use to communicate with
yeah, we
some
do.
of your team
We have a
members?
lot of things, and they're provided by a lot of it is provided by the franchisor. So, when you're talking about like how do you get advice, in the franchise realm, that's something that you should expect from, if you're getting into a franchise from your franchisor partners. They're bringing systems to the table that are designed to be scalable, right? So, like in my own business, I use something called Fran Connect. We have something on the back end with Zoho Analytics. I use various marketing uh, things for marketing, services around LinkedIn and stuff like that. But so these are things that are all provided by the franchisor, and that's what we pay our royalty for, is to have these things and just not have to work on it a lot. But not everybody has that benefit, right? And so that is a big question. I remember when I was starting an independent business in software, like, what systems do I use? What's appropriate? And it seems like I was just constantly in this tool evaluation cycle. Something that worked when I was 5 employees didn't work when I was 10 or 15 employees, or if open a new line of business. I'm wondering where people can go for that kind of thing, to get some advice on the right direction to go.
And so I think that touches on a topic that you mentioned. Where do people go for help? And it's
Mhm.
probably very different in my world than yours. But what are some of your thoughts on that? Or you may have a different approach for small businesses than you do for people in the franchise space. Or what are your thoughts?
I think of the small business, the franchise space is one where there's thankfully a lot of support. That's I am one of those supporters. My job is to be the advisor and help people to figure out, should you be in a franchise or not, or should you do an independent business? Should you stay in your job or not? If so, let's take stock of skills and goals and figure out what businesses are out there and how should we be evaluating them, and what kind of questions should we be asking, and where are we going to find the capital, and what steps do I need to take to transition. Now, once they're in a franchise, then they start to lean on the franchisor for getting trained up in how to run that business, how to use the systems, how to market the business, how to treat the customers and hire people. Right. So we've got this really strong support network. And that is in part why I'm a big fan of franchising, because when you have that support, advice, it sets you up for success, and you make more money and you're more likely to, be successful. Um, so, but we point to people in a lot of directions in terms of funding. I work with a lot of funding partners that my clients use to do 401k rollovers, SBA lending, banking, payroll, insurance, legal work, and other coaches too, financial advisors, and executive coaches. And I lean heavily on SCORE and the small business development centers, SBDC. Those are great government funded organizations, nonprofits that are there to help people of all types, not just franchises, but all people who are starting a business, even if it's a fintech startup.
But
To
I think you're talking
to
about two spaces, right? Like you're talking a lot about support for people who are considering to start a business, and you're talking about some very important topics like how do you gauge if starting a business is right for you, or how do you better judge what you need? What about for people who've started a business? Um, do they reach
yeah,
out to you when they're struggling, or what are the resources that they have when someone starts a small business or a franchise?
there are resources like that, and that's where SCORE and SBDC can really help, because they're there to help people who might be and have been in business a long time, or might just be contemplating getting into a business. There's always something there. You can sign up for a free mentor and get some advice. It's a really powerful resource that I wish I knew existed when I started.
I think one of the better resources that I've found, which helps to connect us and which we're on right now, is Reddit.
Yeah.
And I see all the time, even though I haven't posted as much lately, I have posted for help in the past, and I see almost on a daily basis. Some people post on Reddit in Reddit sales or Reddit entrepreneur something they're proud of, or they're trying to promote their business. But you also see a lot of people coming for help, going into co-founder. This is a problem I have. My business is doing too well and I need help, or my business was doing well, but my SEO has dropped off. And
Hmm.
while there can be a lot of canned responses, every once in a while you find some really quality responses on Reddit and people who are genuinely willing to try to help people that are in a little bit of a pinch.
That's a good point, Jake. And I got to credit Reddit and that support for us being able to meet and collaborate on this, which is in itself a form of support for people who are considering business ownership. But what other thing I've discovered is that there's a whole community of people who are focused on startups and helping people that started in Reddit, but then moved on to other platforms like Discord. There's a server that I met from the startup subreddit that I'm a member of now, and there's a ton of support that's out there. So those online communities, yeah, you're right. Those are really powerful. You have to filter just like everything else, because right, you can't, you know, there needs to be some credence behind the advice that you get, and being able to validate that is important.
Being able to validate it is important. Um, Someone says hello from Germany over on the Reddit stream. That might be a good topic for another day. Not just how to get support, but how to reach out to people. Well, I guess you want to talk today about how to reach out for help, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's relevant. I mean, going on, finding your community. We talked about online, but I think there's also an offline component that's important, especially um, if you're a local business that's community oriented. I've seen organizations like EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization, that's out there to help entrepreneurs and business owners grow their business. That can be a pretty strong organization. There's Business Networking International. There's any number of what we call advisory groups, advisory boards that you can be a member of that will help your business really grow. And there you can actually work off of the sort of the hive mind of other business owners who are looking at your problem with a fresh set of eyes and maybe a perspective that you hadn't thought of before. So I've
I like
seen
I
those.
like that the hive mind. That's excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's plenty that are out there. If you're a community oriented business, I think it could be a little bit more challenging if you're in the tech space, like kind of like you are, where your customers are all over the world potentially. Um, finding support seems like it would be a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. Well, my partners are all over the world, but I'm focused on customers in the U.S. Um, but what I'm trying to give people a better experience, right? So we're really trying to focus on A/B testing, which can get complicated. How do we give people a good experience here, and how do we give people a good experience there, and what do they prefer?
Hmm.
Um, but as a component of that, we do need to make it easy for them to be able to contact us, and for them to be able to reach out to help and get the support that they need, particularly in
Yeah.
a world that is, pretty fragmented at the moment.
Hmm.
So giving your customers the option to reach out to you to help and be a support there. Obviously, you're a big resource to people that are trying to start businesses. And I mean, I can't imagine you've had a long career. How many businesses have you helped people to start? Do you have any record of all that's happened over the years?
No, I mean, I have a record, but off the top of my head, I mean, it's been dozens and dozens of them, over the 12 years, so many businesses,
Well, I think
and
it'd
that,
be a good topic for another day to talk about some of the resources that people use in small businesses that don't have the I guess there's a kind of a favorability to being in the franchise space, because a lot of the systems that you use and metrics you use will be given to you. That's one of the benefits of being in the franchise space. But
yeah.
I would be curious to ask people another day, what are some of the technical uh, platforms or management systems that they use?
Yeah, I'd be curious to know that. I mean, we've got our own set of systems that we use that are kind of popular in the franchise world, but that's just one slice of the economy. Um, I was curious if you had any thoughts on startup accelerators or incubators like that. Have you ever been involved with that?
Yeah, I've done that kind of thing. So I've been through I went through a really great pre-accelerator program based out of Europe called the Startup Wise guys. They're a phenomenal group.
Okay,
And they run some online sessions, but they do run some actual accelerator programs. I think they've got some that are based in Milan and other parts in Europe. And that was an excellent program. But a lot of the like more incubator programs do want to take a piece of your business. They
true.
do want to take some equity if you're going to be a part. Y Combinator is the most kind of famous and the most
Yeah,
aggressive. They have so many people that want to be a part of that program. You have
yeah,
to be incredibly complex and substantial to do like all the marketing that you need to do to get into it. Like I had someone
mm,
send me an email the other day, like asking me to sign in and give them a reference so that they could be part of Y Combinator. So that's very substantial. So there are a lot of incubator and accelerator programs out there. I think the issue is they're all like snowflakes. They're all so different, and a lot of
yeah,
them like to be regional. So it's not one size fits all, and it's not like, hey, an incubator and accelerator is definitely the way for you to help your business find a way forward. You have to really study them and have the right fit.
yep,
I find that a lot of the incubators and accelerators now have like they're trying to have a certain box. They like to have a focus, whether it's on med tech or fintech or a region or certain kinds of businesses. And so they're looking for you to have a certain flavor before you come along to them. But it is a very interesting experience, but it's also very time consuming. Like you're supposed to be building your business and you have to dedicate a certain amount of time to this program, which helps you improve your marketing and it may help you improve the structure of your company. But it takes a lot of time doing that away from potentially supporting customers and doing other things. So
yeah.
you have to have a lot of time. You have to be very committed to your business and to that program, and hopefully to other people in the program as well.
Yeah, and I think that's the implicit assumption is that if you're gonna, I'm thinking of one that's here and they're a regional incubator. It's called Capital Factory here in Austin, and the implicit assumption is if you're going to work with somebody like that, you better be committed. And they'll give you the advice, and yeah, you might end up getting an investment, or but yeah, you might also give up a piece of the equity in exchange for that investment and that support. But what that means is, I think, kind of going back to something you said a few weeks ago, is that you may have a smaller slice, but it's a much bigger pie, through that collaborative effort to build that business and raise that money.
So we're actually going to be partnering with a marketing company based down by you in Austin,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they do a lot of marketing for medical spas. And so we're going to start offering a medical spa finance line.
Okay.
But we're going to partner with a marketing company because they have existing relationships. They have a ton of experience in the medical space, medical spa space. And
Interesting.
we're going to try to leverage some of their marketing abilities and connect it to kind of an easy online finance option, which is what we built on our side, to see if we
Yeah.
can bring the two things together to help bring in some leads and convert them on our side. We're hoping that we can be a trifecta as well. So um, you have an existing medical spa out there. They've decided, hey, we want like an additional revenue stream. So to get an additional revenue stream, we decided that we want to buy this piece of equipment, whether that's laser skin treatments or some other kind of treatment.
Yeah.
So we've identified that we want more revenue. We've identified that we want a piece of equipment. Now we need finance for that because we want to spread the cost. We don't want to spend $100,000 on something today when we could be spending a couple $100 a month. But now we're going to try to marry that up with this marketing program that's going to kind of say, like, now that you have decided on this equipment and we've given you the finance to make it easy to get the equipment, why don't you work with a marketing company who's going to help you keep all your appointments for that piece of equipment booked?
Nice.
And if
I
you
could see
keep that
the
equipment booked all the time, then you can maximize your revenues on this and make sure you have an improved return.
I can
And we're
see
going
the
to see if we
value in
can
that.
work together to help small businesses to maximize their revenues by doing those three things.
So you're helping them not only finance the equipment, the capital expenditure, but you're also helping to drive the revenue to keep that equipment utilized to its fullest extent.
Yeah,
Nice
because if
combo.
if you think about it, for bigger, more substantial medical spa companies, maybe they have a few locations or they've done it a number of years. They may already have the marketing in place. But for some people who are getting equipment for their first time, or one of the early pieces of equipment, they don't necessarily realize the commitment once they have that equipment and what it takes to really generate revenue from that. And we're hoping with the marketing piece, we can help to solve that problem. You don't want to be paying for equipment that's sitting around not generating revenue for you. So if you're going to
Yeah.
commit to buying the equipment, which is a big decision for a company, then let's make sure that we can help you to drive the most return on that. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I'm really excited about it. I think it's a really interesting value proposition, and we'll see if we can help people out there to not only get equipment but accelerate their businesses, get them healthier.
I like it. That's a very holistic way of approaching equipment capital expenditures, is also mating it with revenue opportunities. So very cool. We are getting pretty close to our end time. Did you have any final thoughts on where to go for advice or anything else that's on your mind?
No, I think the key thing is identifying that you do need advice. There's plenty of people out there. I think one of the great things about entrepreneurship and starting a business is just the camaraderie. There's a lot of people out there that have done it, that have made mistakes, and they just want to share
Yeah.
their wins and some of the struggles they've had in the past. So I think there's plenty of people out there just like ourselves. And I was thinking maybe we should do a session where we try to ask people to come to us with a problem they're having in their business. Maybe we could help just discuss it, throw some ideas out. So maybe that could be a topic for
Yeah.
another day as well.
Yeah. Maybe that's
Um,
something that we can do a scheduled event on, and so that we can let people come with their questions.
Maybe we can get a few in advance where people are having some issue in their business that we could discuss, or other people from the audience can help provide us with feedback as well. But Kyle, as always, really enjoy spending a little bit of time with you. We are doing this. We are calling it BizWiz at the moment, the BizWiz live stream podcast, where we talk about all kinds of business. And we will be back not next week, but the week after at the same time.
That's right. We're going to take 1 week off, and we'll come back in 2 weeks at the same time, Wednesday at 11 Central, noon Eastern.
And we appreciate all of your time and your viewership. Thank you very much.
All right. Good to see you, Jake. Good to see everyone out there. Take care.